In this training program, we'll start with all the basics. First, let me show you the complete syllabus. And first, let me know one more thing. All of you have enrolled for only core Java or both the core and advanced? Hello?
Yes, this is Karishma here. Yeah,
I'm taking
actually,
both core and advanced.
Okay.
yeah, the
Any
same
syllabus
here.
document is shared with you? Mahesh shared any syllabus document with you?
No.
Okay. Okay, first let me show you what I can teach. First we'll start with core Java. First we'll start with the introduction. We'll start with history, features and JVM, JRE and JDK structure, and then programming basics and fundamentals, groups, arrays. So these are the concepts that we'll be covering in core Java. And then I can teach JDBC also. I can teach servlets and JSP and Spring and Hibernate, and I can also teach web services also. That syllabus is not included in this document. So later on we'll confirm the complete syllabus, what we'll be covering for this session, for this complete training program. So that I'll confirm from Mahesh. First let me know your interest. Karishma, do you have idea on these modules? I guess you would be having idea on JDBC, servlets and JSP. You might have heard
Yeah,
these terms.
yes,
These
yes,
are what the frameworks.
yes, I have idea about it, but I don't remember anything because it's already been like 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Yeah, I've just like gone through the terms.
Okay. Okay. So later on, after finalizing the complete syllabus, I'll share this complete document with you. Okay. In today's session, let's start with basic concept. Any one of you can define Java. What is Java? In simple terms, whatever you know. Any one of you? Okay, no problem. So everyone can say Java is simply a programming language. So this is the simple definition. Java is a programming language, but Java is not just a programming language. We can say Java as a platform. So first let's try to understand what is a platform. Platform is nothing but not just only software, anything, any hardware or software can be termed as a platform if it runs in its own runtime environment. Then it is called as a platform. Then how I can say Java as a platform? Uh, After installing Java in your local machines, there will be two folders. So one will be JDK and one will be the JRE folder. And when you are going to execute your Java program, it is not going to run in your operating system. Whatever the class file that is generated, that class file will be saved in your local directory. But when you are going to execute your Java program, that class file will be loaded into the Java runtime environment. That is nothing but JRE. JRE is generally called as Java Runtime Environment. That means for executing your Java program, there will be a separate environment created in your local machine after installing Java. So that is called as JRE, Java Runtime Environment. So Java is going to execute in its own runtime environment. So that's why we can say Java as a platform. It is not just only a programming language, so we can say it's a platform because it runs in its own runtime environment. So nowadays Java is more popular when compared to many other programming languages. Java is more popular. So why Java is more popular? Any one of you? All are silent? Okay. So because of some important features, Java is more popular when compared to other programming language. So first let us see briefly what are the important features that are supported by the Java programming language and why Java has become more popular nowadays. The first important reason is Java is platform independent. You can simply write a simple Java file and you can execute the same Java file in any operating system. It is completely platform independent. And what makes Java as platform independent? That is bytecode. After writing the Java program, to see the result of your Java program, we need to take two steps. First thing is we need to compile your Java program and then we need to execute your Java program. So what will happen after compiling your Java program? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Please be more interactive. That will be easy for you also to understand all the concepts. Whatever you know, so you can just tell me in simple words. Okay. After compilation of a simple Java program, what will happen?
We get to see the errors.
If there are no errors,
No errors, then
let's assume compilation step is done successfully. Then what will happen? Is there any file going to be created?
I think dot class file is generated.
Yes, a dot class file will be created. After successful compilation, a dot class file will be created. So there are two steps to see the result of your Java programs. First thing is you need to compile your Java program. And second thing is after successful compilation, you need to execute your Java program. So then only you can see the result of your Java program. So after successful compilation of your Java program, a dot class file will be automatically created. The dot class file is nothing but it consists of only bytecode. So it's completely a sequence of ones and zeros. So why we need to create this dot class file? So because we are human beings, so we know what we have written in our Java program. But machine doesn't understand any programming language. Machine don't know English. Machine don't know any programming language. Machine knows only ones and zeros. Machine knows only bytecode. So whatever the code that you have written in your Java program, and to make your Java program to be understandable by your machine, this dot class file will be generated automatically. And after successful creation of your dot class file, you need to execute your dot class file so that you can see the result of your Java program. And this dot class file consists of completely a bytecode. So let's assume you have compiled your Java program in Windows machine. And this bytecode is also different from operating system to operating system. So when you compile your Java program in Windows machine, the bytecode will be generated in such a way that the dot class file can be understandable by your Windows machine easily. And when you compile your Java program in Linux machine, then the corresponding bytecode will be automatically generated. And for generating this dot class file that corresponds to your operating system, JVM is responsible. So JVM is nothing but it is Java Virtual Machine. This Java Virtual Machine is responsible to generate this dot class file for the particular operating system, because JVM is different for different operating system. So that's why when you try to install Java in your local machines, there will be different exe file for different operating systems. So that is the difference comes with this JVM only. JVM is different for different operating systems. So when Dart class file is going to be generated, this JVM will generate this Dart class file in such a way that the bytecode can be easily understandable by that particular operating system. So that is the reason once a Dart class file is created, the same Dart class file you can execute automatically in any operating system. So that's why Java is completely platform independent. So this is one reason. Because of this reason, Java is more popular when compared to the other programming languages. And when compared to all other programming languages, Java is more secure. So for any programming language, security will be the major concern. So how Java is more secure when compared to other programming language? So for that also there are some reasons, and I think all of you know about C and C++. So in C there is a concept called pointers. But generally using pointers in a programming language is not a secured way to write a program, because with this concept we directly mention the memory address also in the program. But that is not the secured way to write the program. So using pointers is not a secured way. And another reason is Java is going to run inside JRE. Java is not going to run directly inside the operating system. Inside the operating system, there will be another environment created. So that is called as JRE. So because of that also Java is more secure when compared to other programming language. Most of the other programming language runs directly inside the operating system, but Java is not going to run inside the operating system. Inside the operating system, for executing your Java files, there will be another environment created. So that is generally called as JRE. So Java is going to run inside JRE, so which makes more secure when compared to the other programming language. So because of these two reasons, nowadays Java is more popular. And if you just 2 minutes. So because of these two reasons, nowadays Java is more popular when compared to other programming languages. So these are the important features and other important features, and these are related to the programming. So Java supports many important features which makes easy to write even from the programmer's perspective also. If you want to write any programming in C or C++, and if you want to make use of pointers, so it will be the toughest concept in C. But this pointers concept is completely avoided in Java. There is no concept of pointers in Java. So this makes Java simple when compared to the other programming languages. And from the programmer's perspective also, so Java provides many features. So one of the important feature is exception handling. So this is one of the important feature, and then multi-threading. So this is another important feature, and garbage collection. So these are some of the important features. So first let's discuss briefly what is exception handling, and then we will discuss about what is multi-threading and what is garbage collection. So first let's discuss briefly about this exception handling concept. So to understand the concept of exception handling, first we should understand the term exception. What is exception? To define, exception is nothing but it is an unexpected event that disrupts normal flow of execution of a program. So let's take a simple example. So let's assume you have written some set of statements, say statement 1 and statement 2 and statement 3. So let's assume like this, you have written up to 10 statements. And let's assume you are able to compile your Java program properly. That means there are no compile time errors in your Java program. So successfully the dark class file is also generated. And while you are going to execute your Java program, so let's assume at statement 2 there is some exception present. So first I'll explain what is exception, and then we will discuss programmatically what is exception. First I'll just give you just the term exception and how it affects your program, and then we will discuss programmatically what causes the exception when you write a simple program. So here let's assume at statement 2 there is some exception present. So exception is nothing but something you have done wrong in your program. Programmatically there is something wrong. You have not written your program properly, so there is something went wrong in your Java program, but that is not related to the compile time errors. That means generally the compile time errors comes if you do not follow Java syntax. Not only for Java, for any programming language there will be some specific syntax. If you write a C program, you need to follow some syntax. If you want to include some header files, you will write hash include that header file name .h. So that's the syntax we follow. We should use the symbol hash and then we should use the term include. So like that, there is some specific syntax for every programming language. So similarly for Java also there will be some specific syntax. When you write your Java program, if you do not follow the syntax, then there will be some compile time errors. Some syntactically we need to check our program, and also we need to follow some rules and conventions. Of course, if you do not follow the conventions, there will not be any compile time errors. And when you are writing your Java program, we need to follow some rules. So later on we will discuss in detail what are the rules we need to follow, what are the conventions we need to follow. So everything we will discuss in detail. So generally, when you write a Java program, if you do not follow proper syntax and if you do not follow the rules, then your program will fail at the first stage. That means at compile time itself, your program will fail. Even after successful compilation, there may be some problems. When you are going to execute your Java program, even after successful creation of a dark class file also, when you are going to see the result of your Java program, there might be some problems. So later on we will discuss in detail what will be the reasons for exception. So today we'll just discuss it briefly, but exception handling is again a very big concept. It nearly takes 2 to 3 hours to complete. So today we'll just discuss briefly about this, because this is one of the important feature of Java which is not present in most of the programming languages. So which makes Java programming very simple from the programmer's perspective also. So here in this case, let's assume at statement 2 there is some exception present and there are no compile time errors in your Java program, but at statement 2 there is something wrong and that is causing some problem at runtime. That means when you are going to execute your Java programs, your program is not going to run properly. So what will happen if there is some exception present at statement 2? When you are going to execute your Java program, you can see the result for statement 1 because there is no exception present at statement 1. But when you are going to execute statement 2, then there is some exception present, and this exception will terminate your Java program abnormally without any intimation. It will simply terminate your Java program. So let's assume all the other rest of the statements from statement 3 to statement 10 you have done it properly. There are no compile time errors at all. Of course, there are no compile time errors in your Java program completely. So that's why you are able to generate a class file. And after successful generation of a class file, when you are going to execute your Java program, your program has been terminated completely. You have seen the result for only for statement 1 because at statement 2 itself there is some exception present and that caused your Java program to terminate abnormally without any intimation. Even if you write rest of the statements properly, that means from statement 3 to statement 10, you have written properly, there are no exceptions, nothing, but still you are going to lose the output for all the rest of the statements, because at statement 2 itself there is some exception present. So here this is a simple example, but in real time a simple Java file contains some hundreds of thousands of lines. So but here in just a 10 line of Java program, if there is some exception present at statement 2, then we are going to lose the output for all of the statements. But in a real-time scenario, if there is some exception present at statement 2 itself, then you are going to lose the output completely. That means your Java program is simply terminating abnormally without showing any output. So to handle these kind of situations, exception handling concept is introduced in Java. If there is any compile time error present in Java, there is no other option. You should go back to your Java program, you should make the changes properly, and then only you need to compile again. But if there is some exception present in Java program, you can prevent your Java program from abnormal termination, even if that statement is present in your Java program. You are not going to modify your Java program, but you are going to prevent your program from abnormal termination with the help of this exception handling concept. So this is the simple syntax to use the exception handling concept. So these syntax and try and catch. So these are the two terms that we use in generally for exception handling concept, and we will discuss in detail when we discuss the actual concept of exception handling in detail. But now I just want to show you how you are going to prevent your program from abnormal termination. To use this exception handling concept in Java, just write your Java program within the try block, not the complete Java program. So in a Java programs, you might assume that some set of lines of statements might cause some exception. Then you can just keep them inside try block. So here I'm writing these statements from statement 1 to statement 10 inside try block. And then after this, I'm going to write a catch block. So this is the simple syntax. So later on we will discuss in detail. If you write the simple program like this, then even if this statement 2 is present, so here statement 2 is also present, you are not going to modify your statement which causing the exception. You can still keep that statement in your Java program, but you can prevent your Java program from abnormal termination just by adding try and catch. But in this case, in this scenario, you cannot see the output for the rest of the statements if you keep them inside try block. The best approach is just write only statement 1 and statement 2 inside a try block, and then write catch block. And if you place the rest of the statements outside the catch block, then only you can see the result for these statements. And then I'm writing statement 3. Of course, this execution flow we will discuss in detail later. But here you should understand only these two terms, try and catch. So these two are the terms that we generally use for exception handling. And when you write the code inside try block, if there is some exception present inside try block, and when you write proper catch block with proper exception class name, then your program will be prevented automatically from abnormal termination. That means your program will still continue to execute even if that statement which causing the exception, even if that statement is present in your Java program, you can prevent your program from termination and your program will continue to execute, and you can see the result for all the rest of the statements also. So this is one of the important concept in Java. So to understand this briefly, I'm going to show you a simple example. And when I'm writing this program, you might not understand the syntax. So most of you might not understand what I'm writing in this Java program because you are completely new to Java. But just try to understand what will be the scenario if there is some exception present in your Java program, and after adding try and catch blocks, what will be the scenario. So you should understand only that point. So here I'm going to write a simple class. My class name is test. So you are completely new to all these terms. What is class and what I'm writing in this Java program? Just ignore all of these things. But just understand only this statement, system.out.println. When you write this statement and when you write something inside this, you can see this on console. And this is one of the reason when you write a simple Java program, this statement generally causes some exception. So generally when you try to divide any number with 0, generally in general mathematics, what could be the result? If you try to divide any number with 0, what is the result in? Just forget about programming. Just forget about programming. In general mathematics, what will be the result if you try to divide any number with 0?
It's infinity.
It's infinity. So in Java, to represent different terms, like if you want to save your name, if you want to save some number, or if you want to save a lengthy statement, to save different kinds of data, there are different data types defined. Data types is again a different concept, so we'll be discussing in detail. But in Java, there is nothing to represent infinite. If you want to save a number, so there are 4 different data types you have, and if you want to save a lengthy statements, so there is another data type called string. So like this, to represent different kinds of data, there are different data types defined in Java, but there is nothing in Java which can represent infinite. So if you write these kind of statements, this will cause arithmetic exception. That means if you write these kind of statements, your program is going to terminate abnormally. So here first, before writing this, first I'm going to compile and execute this Java program first. To compile your Java program, first change to the directory wherever you have saved your Java file. I have saved my Java file inside C, inside training, and inside Mahesh folder. First change to the directory. And then first step is we need to compile our Java program. Just forget about the syntax. You don't understand what is this term class, what is this test, public static void main. You don't understand anything. Just forget about all of these things. We'll be discussing in detail. But just understand one thing. When you write system.out.println, so whatever you write in between these double quotes, that will be shown on console. Now, when we execute this Java program, we should see this one on console. So for this, first we need to compile your Java program. So when you compile your Java program, it will check for the syntax. If you write your Java program by following the proper syntax, then a .class file will be generated. So first I'm going to compile my Java program. To compile a simple Java program, you need to use this command javac and then file name.java. So file name is exception example.java. Exception example.java. Javac file name.java and then hit enter. If there are no compile time errors, then you will be automatically redirected to that folder structure. And in this folder, if you see, there is a .class file generated with the name test. So what is test? Test is nothing but our class name. Of course, as of now, we don't even know what is class, but just understand one thing. So we'll be writing only one class for a single Java file for few sessions, and then later on we'll write multiple classes in a simple Java file. After the term class, whatever the name that you give, with that name there will be a .class file created. So this is nothing but the .class file, and if you open, you don't understand what is there inside this, because this consists of completely some byte code. and when you are going to execute your Java program, so our first step is done successfully. The compilation step is done. Now we need to execute our Java program. So to execute your Java program, this is the command we use, Java test. And you should not mention that class extension. So if you see main, so we are able to see this on console. That means we are able to compile our Java program and we are able to see the result of our Java program. And now I'm going to write another console statement. This is statement 1, and then I'm writing one more statement, few more statements like this, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I'm going to show all these statements on console. So now I'm going to compile it again and I'm going to execute this program again. So this is the result. So that means there is no exception present in your Java program. So we are able to see the result of our Java program. Now I'm going to add this statement, int a equal to 10 divided by 0. So I'm saying this statement will cause arithmetic exception and your program is going to terminate abnormally. So now I'm going to compile and I'm going to execute my Java program again. If you observe, at compile time there is no error. The dot class file is generated. I'm going to delete and I'm going to compile this once again. Observe it carefully. I have compiled and here a dot class file generated. So that means at compile time there is no problem, but I'm going to execute my Java program. And if you observe here what's happening, we are able to see the result for only one statement, and after that this statement is causing the exception. So the program is terminating just immediately after executing this one. So we are going to lose the output for all these statements. So like this, if you write any number of statements, if you write hundreds of thousands of statements, you are going to lose output for all of them because this statement is causing the exception. But when you execute, your compiler will show you the details of the exception also. So this is java.lang arithmetic exception. So just forget what is this. Just remember this arithmetic exception. So this is the exception name and this is nothing but the description, division by 0. That means you are trying to divide some number with 0. So that is causing this exception, and also it will show you at which line the exception is present. Exception example.java and the line number is 7. So at line number 7, so there is some exception present. So that means your compiler is saying that this statement is causing the exception, and when immediately after executing this statement, your program has been terminated abnormally. So is it clear? This will be the scenario if there is some exception present. If you don't understand about the syntax, forget. Don't bother about the syntax because we'll be discussing each and every point in detail along with the syntax. In this session, you should understand only one point. What will be the scenario if there is some exception present, and you should be able to differentiate these two steps, compilation and execution, because we have seen programmatically also. And if I'll show you what will happen if there is some compile time error in your Java program also. Now I'm going to compile this once again. So there is a compile time error. That means when I write this Java program, I have not followed proper syntax. It says package system does not exist. Generally system is a predefined class, but I have used here a wrong name, so this is giving you a compile time error. So if there is any compile time error, the class file will not be generated. So I have deleted just now, and with this error I'm going to compile this Java program once again. If you observe, there is compile time error, but if you observe in this folder, there is no .class file generated. So this is nothing but the compile time error, but exception handling concept is not to deal with these compile time errors. Exception handling is only to deal with the runtime exceptions. So with the try catch, you can't do anything with this compile time errors, and there is no other way. You should correct your Java code. So then only you can compile your Java program successfully. As a programmer, you will be understanding slowly about the syntax clearly. So just forget about this syntax error, but you should understand if there is any compile time error, how the program is going to respond, and if there is any exception, how the program is going to respond. And this exception handling concept is only to deal with the runtime exception. Exception handling concept is not going to deal with the compile time errors. So are you guys clear what will happen if there is any exception present in a Java program? Are you clear with this?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is just the demo session. So I have not started my first class also. So first class will be starting from tomorrow only. So in our first class, first we will start with the Java history, and we'll discuss in detail about the other features also. We'll start with the Java history, and then we will discuss in detail about the JDK, JVM and JRE architectures, and then we'll jump into the programming fundamentals. And how you are going to handle this exception using try catch. So for that, I'm going to add try, and then I'm going to place these two statements inside try block, and then after writing the try block, I'm going to write catch block. And I'm placing all these statements after the catch block. If you observe, the statement that caused the exception is still present in my Java program. So this is the statement that caused the exception, but now this statement is still present in my Java program, but I have added exception handling code. So now let's see how your program is going to respond. So now everything is fine. You are able to see the result for all the statements. So this is because you have added exception handling code in your Java program. So this will be the scenario if there is some exception present in your Java program. And if you want to handle the exception, so this is the basic syntax, and we'll be discussing in detail about the syntax. So this is just to make you understand why exception handling concept is introduced in Java. So this is, so you have just remember only the theoretical points. So don't bother about the syntax. So don't try to write the syntax properly. Don't try for that. Just remember the concept theoretically. So we'll be discussing in detail about the syntax in our coming sessions. So are you clear with this concept, exception handling? Do you have any questions in this? So this is one of the important features. So generally in other programming languages like C or C++, if there is some exception present, then programmer is responsible to identify at which statement the exception is present and what is the reason for that exception. And programmer has to deal with everything, how he can correct that statement properly. So everything, for every task, programmer is responsible. But in Java, the scenario is different. If there is some exception present, when you execute your Java program itself, the compiler itself shows you at which line the exception is present, and it will also give you some description of that exception also. So if you see here, if you see the description, it says division by 0. Just by seeing the description itself, you can understand the reason for the exception. That means, so if you see the description here, so you can easily understand that we are trying to divide a number with 0, and that is causing some arithmetic exception. So when we are writing programs, slowly you can get complete idea on different types of exceptions and different reasons for the exceptions in detail. So this is just a simple reason. So as everybody knows general mathematics, I have just chosen this simple example, but there are many scenarios that causes exception in a Java program. So we'll discuss everything in detail. You have any more questions in this? Hello?
No.
Okay. Okay, this is the concept for demo session today. And tomorrow onwards, we'll start the actual concept. We'll discuss in detail about the other features. We have just discussed only exception handling feature. There are two more features we need to discuss, multi-threading and garbage collection. We'll just discuss briefly, not programmatically completely. We'll just discuss it briefly. Okay, you want
Do
to
we have the
discuss?
class every day in the morning?
You want to discuss? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, Kavya.
Do we have the class every day in the morning only?
Actually, I'm comfortable to take these lessons in your evening time, but I'm not sure whether all of you
No,
are
no,
available.
I just want to confirm.
Okay, that those things will confirm with Mahesh.
Mm-hmm. And how can we get your videos? I mean, the class videos.
Generally, there is an option to record the session, but so these things I need to discuss. So generally, in my training programs, whatever is discussed in the class, I'll send a notes for that, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll send the example also. So this is the simple example I have shown you, right? So for
Okay.
other concepts, we'll be discussing each and every concept programmatically. So generally, I'll share complete notes and I'll share the corresponding Java files, all the examples, whatever we
Okay.
discussed. I'll share all the examples too. But recordings, I'm not sure. I need to discuss with Mahesh.
Okay.
If you
Okay.
want me to share, then there is no problem for me to share.
Okay.
Even this session is also being recorded.
Okay.
You can hear the audio. You can see my screen also completely.
Mm.
I'll show you some sample recordings if you want. And then coding fundamentation, we'll discuss the basics. This is also a demo, just 1 second. This is another actual class. Within the class. By default, it is visible. The visibility. This is the example we have discussed. So it shows. You can see my screen completely and you can hear my voice. You can hear everyone's voice. Whatever you speak, everything will be recorded.
Okay.
And I'll share all the examples also. Whatever we discuss for your batch, I'll save all of your examples in a separate folder. So after completing everyday session, I can share all the Java files also.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else you want to discuss regarding this training?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any feedback?
You are doing good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for beginners, Java will be difficult to understand for just 1 week. Because initially every concept is interrelated. So initially for 1 week for beginners it will be little difficult. Just to understand the terminology itself, it takes some time. But after 1 week, once we complete all the theoretical concept, once we start writing programs, then everything will be in track. But till then, beginner feels difficult to understand this Java programming language, but after that it's very simple. Once you start writing program on your own, then it is very simple to learn. And if you already know C or C++, then the syntax is almost similar to that. We have similar to global variables, here we have some instance and static variables. And hash include means we'll write import statements in Java. So like that, just the terms are different, but syntax is almost all similar. We have functions in C and we have methods in Java. Just the term is different, but syntax is almost similar. I think all of you know about C and C++, right? But the people who came from electronics background, I think they have C in their first semester. All of them might not have
Yeah.
Java, but I think C will be there in first semester. So
Yes.
syntax is almost similar to that. When I explain the actual concept, I'll correlate with C or C++, so that will be easy for you to understand. Okay, anything else you want to discuss, any one of you?
Oh, ma'am.
Yeah, Kuldeep, tell me. Yeah, Kuldeep, tell me.
When will we get the class schedule, ma'am? Like timings?
Timings most probably will fix at this time, but if all of you are available at your morning time, so I can take longer sessions. But if you plan the session at this time, I can't take more than 1 hour. But if all of you can join in at your morning time, I can take more 1.5 and 2 hours also sometimes, depending on all of our availability, we'll plan it. But if you want me to take it this time only, I cannot extend more than 1 hour. After a few days, I can, because at this time I have another batch. Just 2 students are there in that match. If we can match all of them, then no problem. I can take longer sessions. So timings will confirm. Just talk to Mahesh. So tell him about your available timings. Then we'll confirm by tomorrow's session.
And how long?
Generally, the whole training program, whatever I have shown in this document, to complete all this, it takes 2 months. It takes 2 months to complete, and if you want only core, we can complete it in 20 days or 25 days. If you're available for 1.5 hour daily, then we can complete it in 25 days.
Okay, ma'am.
And anything else you want to discuss?
No, ma'am. That will.
Okay. Okay. So then I want to end the session for today. Just give your feedback to Mahesh and we'll plan accordingly. We'll plan for the time for the next session properly, and then we can continue from tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So everything will be communicated from Mahesh. Okay, then shall I end this session today?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks everyone. See you tomorrow.